one last time, welcome on into a live edition of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Matthew Peterson. Today is my last live show here at Falcons Today. We're going to talk about the future of this channel, the future of myself. We're going to break that down on today's show. Let's get right into that part of it, Reed, actually, because I do want to kind of run through the latest on the channel and what is coming up next. So, if you missed it and you've been living under a rock in the Falcons YouTube world, last week I announced that Friday, May 23rd would be my last day at Chat Sports. And that has kind of changed. So let me get you up to speed on everything. Tomorrow, Friday, is my last day at Chat Sports in a traditional sense. It'll be my last day coming to the studios. It'll be my last day coming to the office. My ID badge will get deactivated on Saturday morning. But when I come back from my wedding and honeymoon in the middle of June, my boss has asked if I'd be interested in doing some part-time level-ish work, filming videos for the channel from my house. And I thought that was a good scenario for all three parties, right? For me, I've been touched by all the really kind comments you guys have had over the last few days. And I thought, hey, if it means I get to hang out with you all for an extra month, sure, I don't see the downside in that. For them, Chat Sports, they get to get more content and coverage on the team for an extra month while they look for my replacement. And for you guys, you get an extra month of dealing with my ugly face and getting content out there. So here's what is going to happen in short. On Friday, tomorrow, deuces for me in the Chat Sports studios. And then I'll go to my wedding. I'll go on my honeymoon. I'll come back to Dallas, Texas, and I will, for a month, film videos on the Falcons from my kitchen. You've seen me put videos out before from my kitchen. It'll be just a everyday thing for my kitchen for about 4 to 5 weeks. And then I will officially Houdini and say goodbye, as at that point Chat Sports will have hopefully found a new full-time host for this channel. So I didn't know that this was going to happen a week ago. My bosses this past weekend took me out to brunch on Sunday, tossed out this idea. I slept on it, and I thought it was a pretty good, option for everyone. So that is the current, status of what this channel is going to look like for the next 8 or so weeks. Now, while I am on my honeymoon and at my wedding, we will have different, I can't say we at that point. Chat Sports will have different hosts fill in on this channel, so you'll see a collection of different names and faces. The channel, with or without me, is not going anywhere. It is not my personal YouTube channel, right? I just host this Falcons YouTube channel for Chat Sports. So, channel's going nowhere. It's just me that's going somewhere for the next 3 weeks for wedding and honeymoon, and then coming back, and then on the channel from my kitchen for a month, and then officially I say goodbye. So that is the latest on the, scheduling, if you will, for Falcons Today. All right, I see we already have one super chat from Ammon K before we even went live. Shout out to you. Matthew, I'd like to say change is never easy, but it's always for the better. Congrats on the wedding and for losing them LBs. You're inspirational. Thank you for your hard work, and congrats on the next chapter. See, comments like this, you have no idea how much they mean to me. And so when my boss was like, hey, what would you think about working from home while you're at your new job and doing 4 to 5 videos a week from your kitchen? And I was like, say less, right? If I get to hang out with you guys for an extra month, and I can still kind of start that next chapter at the same time, that's a win-win in my eyes. So I'm very excited about this. I'm sorry if you were really excited to see me leave. The haters are going to be devastated, but I'm doing it for the winners right now, and that's you guys at home right now. We have a few other super chats coming in. Grand Limousine, thank you for your kind words and staying with us. We support you 100%. Go get them, Petey. Grand Limousine, I can't wait to be in, a limousine or a bus of yours, sort of, in a week or so, because it is Thursday, May 22nd, and we are employing Grand Limousine and their friends. I won't get too far into the weeds on it, for Friday night for our welcome party. We got 3 buses lined up. I knew the best place to go for that. Grand Limousine, thank you so much for all of your support over the years. You're incredible yourself. We've got another one coming in from across the pond. We got Ammon earlier, and now we have Complete the States. Haven't been watching live since having a baby. Well, first off, congrats to you. but had to come for your last dance. You've been a big part of our household over the years. One last CLNS and 1-2 clap for Rar Jr. Is there a either way, I could definitely go. I didn't realize CLNS would be such a ringtone to everyone. It sounds weird to say without being in the middle of the read, but use code CLNS to get $50 off when you spend $5 for your first time at PrizePicks. That's code CLNS. And then 1-2 for our junior 1-2. All right. So this is my last live show. I just saw Diablo put that in the chat. You got to understand sometimes in the YouTube world with a character limit on titles, it's better to be a little bit more concise than, long-winded. So my last live show, but I will have more videos published on the channel that I hosted over the next couple of days, and then I will be away for 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll come back and post videos on the channel from my kitchen. That's really the most, short and sweet way to put what is going to happen over the next 2 months or so. All right, Reed has a couple of offers he would like to bring to your attention. Just one, sorry. So, if this channel can get to this stream can get to $300 in super chats on today's live show, Reed will do a beer boot. We're at $43 right now, so we got ways to go. Appreciate you. We're 15% of the way there, so we're filling up that thermostat, the thermometer actually, with a little bit of red Sharpie at the bottom. But shout out to Reed. He's been instrumental in the growth of this channel over the last 12 months. Everything you see on screen would not be possible without him pushing buttons behind the scenes. So show Reed some love in the chat. Derek Jenkins with a $5 super chat. I do promise that I have a regular live show planned for today in terms of topics and segments I want to get to, but I really appreciate all the love you guys are showing me right now. Derek, PD, gonna miss you, bro. Thanks for being a great ambassador for us Falcons fans. Enjoyed your reporting, analysis, and beer challenges. Good luck. Derek, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. I have had a couple of people ask over the last few days what my next chapter will be, and I said I'll share it at the end of the week, and, well, we're at the end of the week. So, the next chapter, I think I shared to some of you guys that were tuned in to last week's live show, but I am joining a friend of mine from college who started and owns a trivia company. I know it's a bit niche-y, but let's be honest, being a sports YouTuber is kind of niche-y as well. But I love trivia, and I wasn't looking to, embark on a new journey because I really like this job, but trivia has always been a passion of mine, and the offer was really nice. It was very flattering. And it's a passion that I said I've had for a long time. So I felt like this would be a good time in my life before I get married and while I'm still, in my 20s, late 20s, to make a little bit of a risk and take a jump and try something else. So I'll be starting that when I come back from my honeymoon in June. So I'll be juggling kind of two things at once. But I decided that'd be the best thing for you guys as well to make sure you're covered off with content. So I will, get going on that, which brings me to this. If, you're a bar owner, a restaurant owner, or manager, and you want trivia, hit me up. Email, Matthew@chatsports.com, before that email gets deactivated in 48 hours, not even. Or Twitter DM me, Matthew PD. So if you want some trivia at your establishment, let me know. Coming up on today's show, latest news and rumors. Then we're going to talk about some of the rookie predictions floated out there by ESPN. And I did this segment last summer. I had a lot of fun doing it, and so I wanted to get it done before I left for my, big upcoming day. So NFC South superlatives. So we'll get to all three of those topics on today's live. Robert Smith with a $5 super chat. Yo, Petey. Can't watch the stream, but I've been a fan since day one. Thanks for the quote in the last video, and good luck in the future. Robert, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I know that I'm far from a perfect host, but I always try to incorporate you guys into the show and make it as much of a two-way conversation as possible, because it's a lot more difficult than you might think to have a conversation with a camera and a green screen behind me. So it's fun to get you guys involved and on screen as much as possible. Robert, thank you, man. Rise up, dude. Jose Santana with a $20 super chat. Diablo, my Twitter is Matthew Petey. Doesn't get more simple than that, in my opinion. Matthew with 2 T's. I'll toss it in the chat right now. Here it is. One moment on the super chat, Jose. You want me to call Moosin to help you? I also tossed my email in there in case anyone's like, hey, I loved your show. Just wanted to write you a quick note, or can you send me a postcard from your honeymoon? But that email will be deactivated when Saturday morning hits. So don't wait too long on that. Okay. Jose, Petey, you have been just completely awesome these past few years. I really appreciate everything you've done, and I hope you succeed in your next chapter. Many blessings coming your way. P.S. Don't forget my Jalen Walker jersey. I have not forgotten anyone's jerseys or anything like that. Whenever we do jersey giveaways and things of that nature, I fill out an information form and I submit it to our shipping department, and then they take the baton and run from it from there. So I know with rookie jerseys it takes a little bit of a while just because you got to wait for the rookie number to be announced. But don't worry, you're not going to get lost just because I'm leaving. But Jose, when you sent that super chat in, I did start to think about Santana's got to be towards the top of the leaderboard in terms of total, giveaway items won. What are you at right now? When you get your Jalen Walker jersey, what's the total, body count for everything you've won from all of your, donations and contributions to the channel? Joel S., $5 super chat. Time Man, I got your email. Daryl, actually going to miss you, Petey. I wish you the absolute best. Thank you, guys. I mean, I don't know if I do a good enough job of conveying just how genuine my appreciation is. It's truly an overwhelming experience to see this much love being poured out to me. And I can't say that I grew up unloved, but nothing to this level of more or less, I don't say strangers because it sounds degrading, but kind of strangers, right?
I mean, it's hard because you're staring at a camera.
I know.
It's hard to see, but seeing all the nice words, it's hard to really convey how you feel when we're just here, just the two of us.
We got Joel S. with the $5 super. We'll throw that on screen. I do not know who is taking my job. Emmanuel, thanks for sticking us through the bad times and the bad times. Appreciate you, boss, where you're headed. I just mentioned it a moment ago, but if you're just tuning in right now, so tomorrow, Friday, will be my last day at Chat Sports in person. Then I go on my wedding and honeymoon trip, which is total about 3 weeks all in. And when I come back from that, I will do at-home videos for this channel while Chat Sports looks for my replacement. I'll do those at-home videos for about 4 to 5 weeks, and then I will officially say farewell. But when I come back from my honeymoon, I'll also be starting my next job, which is why I'm leaving altogether. And I'm joining a trivia company. I love trivia. It's always been a passion of mine. A friend of mine from college started a trivia company over half a decade ago at this point, and he offered me an opportunity to hop aboard. It was a very, flattering and generous offer, and so the timing of my life made sense, and I'm excited for this next chapter, but it's definitely bittersweet because I love this job, right? I'm not leaving because I don't like what I do here. It's just I'm trying something different that I really enjoy, and I hope it works out. So with that, if you think, hey, this place would be a great place for trivia, whether you work at a bar or a restaurant or a brewery as a server, manager, owner, hit me up at Matthew PD on Twitter, or you can email Matthew at Chat Sports, and we'd love to help your trivia needs. All right, let's get into today's show. Yeah, it's a trivia company, TJ, just like any kind of trivia you'd find at a pub or a bar on a weeknight. So I won't go into too much detail on that because I'm still working at this job, so I don't want to cross streams. But here we go. Let's talk about the latest news and rumors out there, some rookie predictions, NFC South superlatives, all that good stuff. Are we ready to rumble? Okay, by the way, you guys are awesome for tuning into our live show. We're going to get 3 videos out of this, and I'm going to publish them as videos, like standalone videos. We call it videos on demand in the biz, over the next couple of days. In every single one of these, I'm going to make the same announcement over and over again because I know not everyone watches every single video. So it's going to start to get redundant to you. I'm sorry for that, but That way, people who didn't tune into our live show get the message when they watch a video on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday next week. So we're good. Let's jump into it. Before we get into today's episode, quick show update as to what the schedule is going to look like for me at Chat Sports and Falcons today. So, over a week ago, I announced that Friday, May 23rd would be my last day at Chat Sports, and that's partially true. So, last weekend, my bosses took me out to brunch, and they made me an offer that was very interesting, which was, when you come back from your wedding and honeymoon in the middle of June, would you be interested in doing some at-home content, filming videos from your kitchen for about 4 to 5 weeks into the middle of July while we search for your replacement? And that seemed like a pretty good outcome for all parties involved, right? Chat Sports get more content on the channel while they search for a replacement for me. I get to hang out with you guys for an extra month, and you guys get videos for an extra 4 or 5 weeks, whereas it could have been a dead period. So I'm going to leave for my wedding and honeymoon on like May 28th, 29th, at which point I will officially be incognito for 3 weeks. And then when I come back, you'll see me once again, but from my kitchen filming videos for a month while they search for my replacement. So it's a little bit of stop and go, but that's basically what the next month and a half or so looks like. Now, let's get into the reason why you clicked onto today's show, which is the Atlanta Falcons defense is going in a whole new direction. I'm excited for today's episode because we're not talking about Kirk Cousins rumors or anything like that. We're really sinking our teeth into the identity and the DNA of the 2025 Falcons. And I think a good place to start by trying to figure out what Jeff Ulbricht's defense is going to look like is by looking at what Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris did in the offseason. Look at the additions they made and the losses. Is there anything that jumps out to you guys? How about the size difference? How about going from Eddie Goldman, 325 pounds, to, not a single notable addition over 250 pounds? The Atlanta Falcons are trying to get a faster defense on the field. They are shedding the big fellas for the more nimble, speedier guys. So there are some pros and cons that come with this overarching different way of thinking. A big pro is it's better for pass coverage. It's easier for lighter and quicker guys to stay in coverage with running backs and tight ends in the flat and over the middle of the field. Now, the con is when you shed a 325-pound defensive tackle, you're not going to have as many big fellas in the middle of that defensive line to eat up blockers to help stop the run. You have David Onyemata still, but you're a little bit thin at run stoppers. So with that, I want to start to put you on to what I think the Atlanta Falcons are doing, which is they are trying to be at the forefront of the latest trend in the NFL. It's a copycat league, right? We see someone roll out a new idea and then give it a season or two later, and everyone's doing it. And I think the Atlanta Falcons in 2025 are going to be one of the first teams to arrive at the scene of, we are selling out for the pass. We don't care that much about the run. Beat us on the ground. We will not let you beat us through the air. And that is 180 for starters from the way football had been run for 100 years, more or less. Now, this thinking, I think, derives from the new Chicago Bears head coach, Ben Johnson, who made it public. So Josh Kendall from The Athletic had a great article which touched on this. But I want to share with you guys what Ben Johnson, the new Bears head coach, the former Lions offensive coordinator, had to say about a very, bear with me here, specific analytic. The way I understand it right now from our analytics team, the EPA in the passing game is really one of the most critical factors in determining wins and losses right now. Whatever team has the higher passing game EPA at the end of the game, they generally win that game over 80% of the time. I know we're kind of getting into the weeds a little bit here, but please stick with me because I promise I'm going to land this plane and it won't be bumpy. But the first thing I want to address is, what the heck is EPA, right? EPA stands for expected points added. This is, I think, in baseball terms, the next like OPS metric, where at first it's a little confusing and it won't be long until it's just almost the standard, if you will. So, some background on what EPA is. It's best described with examples. The technical definition is it is a measure of how well a team performs relative to expectation. So, let me give you a real life example. All right? Here's a chart that might help you out if you're more of a visual person. If an offense steps on the field, 1st and 10 at their own 30-yard line, the EPA, the expected points added for that drive, might be 1. Right? The analytics say, hey, 1st and 10 from your own 30, we are expecting that you finish this drive with 1 point. Obviously, you can't get 1 point, but when you have 7 of those drives, the expectation is you have 7 points out of all 7 of those drives, right? That's what EPA is in a nutshell. It's best used to differentiate different stats. So let me try and verbalize it, and then I'll give you a visual example of it. Let's say me and producer Reed finished with the identical stat line. 5 carries, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. Reed's carries all came, 4 of them came at the goal line, and he got 1 touchdown, and the rest came off, the rest of 50 yards came from 1 long run. All right? So from the goal line, he had 4 carries for 1 yard and 1 touchdown. And then he had 1 carry for 49 yards. 4 out of those 5 carries were not, from a metric standpoint, very impressive. You're at the 1, and it took you 4 tries to get to the end zone. But you end the day with 5 carries for 50 yards and 1 touchdown. Let's say I have 5 carries for 50 yards and 1 touchdown in a different game. But all 5 of my carries came on 3rd and 5. And I picked up the first down in every single one. And on one of them, I even scored a touchdown. Well, we had the same stat line, but who had the better day for the team? They'd say me. I got 5 first downs and a touchdown from beyond the 1 yard line. Reed got the bare minimal done 4 out of 5 times and had 1 long run. That's the goal of EPA, is so that you don't look at the box score and see, Petey and Reed, they had identical games, 5 carries, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. That's what it tries to accomplish. Let me give you now a visual example of this, and then I promise I'm going to bring this back to the Atlanta Falcons, but I think it's important for everyone to have a good grasp and understanding of how EPA works. I went back and I looked at an example of when Atlanta had 1st and 10 from about the 50. I couldn't find exactly that, but I found 2nd and 10 from the Tampa Bay 49. So very similar to 1st and 10 from the 50. When you have 1st and 10 from the 50, the expected points for that drive is 2.5. So they're saying you're more than likely going to get close enough for a field goal, right? You're starting that close to the opponent's end zone. Now, on this play, Kyle Pitts scored a touchdown. You might remember it because he started a showboat as he got into the end zone. So, here's how EPA works for specific players. The team's expected points going into that drive was 2.5. Kyle Pitts scored 6 points. So you take 6, subtract 2.5 from that, because that's what you were expected to do since you started at the 50. So the EPA expected points added for that play by Kyle Pitts is 3.5. He added 3.5 points on from what the expectation was. Does that make sense? So if you score a touchdown on 3rd and 20 from your own 5, that's way more impressive than if you score a touchdown on 1st and 10 from their 10-yard line. It's also doubly and triply more impressive because of the situation. It's way harder to score from your own 5, 10-yard line than the opposition's. But in the box score, it shows I have 1 touchdown and Reed has 1 touchdown. Okay, but I want to know, what were those touchdowns like? If you get a first down on 4th and 7, that's more valuable to your team a 10-yard run than if Reed gets a 10-yard run on 2nd and 20 to make it 1st and 10. So I hope we have a good grasp of what EPA is. Now, the downfall is it's the first word in EPA. It's expected. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, right? If I get a 50-yard run on 3rd and 20, well, my EPA that play could be 2. I added 2 points to our team's drive. But if we don't score a touchdown because our quarterback throws an interception in the red zone, well, I still have the same EPA for my play earlier, but we didn't get those points actually. So don't lose sight of it's expected, but it doesn't always mean you're actually going to come through with it. So now let's bring the Falcons into the loop here. Jeff Ulbrich, speaking to the media not long ago, said, "It's such a huge shift in how football has ever been approached. It forced me to reassess how I approach defense because I was classically taught in the game, you better stop the run first. It's been an evolution for me in the last 10 years. So as offenses gear up to be more dynamic in passing, as we learned from Ben Johnson earlier, because if you win that passing EPA game, you're going to win 80% of the time. Well, then defenses have to counter with great pass defenses. That comes in the secondary, but that comes with pass rush. That comes with not letting the quarterback get comfortable. And the price of doing that is your run-stopping unit will suffer. I'm all right with this line of thinking under one pinky promise, Jeff. You just can't be bottom 5 in run stopping. If you ranked 1 through 32, whatever metric you want to use, you can use rushing yards on the ground. You can use EPA rush. You can use rush defense success. I don't care. Let your analytics team pick whichever one is the most important for truly evaluating a run defense. Whatever you come up with, you just got to pinky promise me you will not be bottom 5. You don't have to be like the 85 Bears up there. But just don't be 28th or 29th. I'll be happy with 24th, 23rd, right? All right, you're kind of in the bottom third, but we can manage that. If the price of selling out with speed for stopping opponent's pass is you can't stop a nosebleed on the ground, then as Raheem Morris taught us all last year, if you can't stop the run on early downs, your pass rushers won't have 3rd and 10 to pin their ears back on. If 1st and 10 turns into 2nd and 5, and 2nd and 5 turns into 3rd and 1, unfortunately, your first-round picks, James Pierce and Jalen Walker, they don't get the chance to sack the quarterback because the other team's going to run until you stop them. So in order to get to the quarterback and sack him, you need him to pass. And they'll do that on their own a certain amount of times. But if they run at will, then what's the incentive to pass on 1st and 10 when they've had so much success running the ball on 1st and 10? All right, before we get on out of here, if you would like to get a Jalen Walker jersey, a James Pierce jersey, use this link, chatsports.com/ATL rookies. I put this link in the comments and description of today's video. It is a great way to support the channel, but more importantly, get yourself a brand new Atlanta Falcons rookie jersey. That way you're not going to week 1 with a Julio Jones jersey, a Matty Ice jersey. Nothing against those guys, but you don't want to have the old jersey. To really put a bow on today's episode, what's your concern level over Atlanta's defense? Scale it 1 to 10 for me. I'd probably put myself at like a 6.6. They made some fun acquisitions in the offseason. They had some good draft picks. But I got to see it to believe it for the youngins first. So put me down for a 6.6. We're going to spin the wheel to wrap it up. Here we go. Looking good for Eli. Hit the brakes, Eli. Julio. Speak of the devil. Julio Jones. And then it has the salute emoji. All right. 2 claps for Julio. 1, 2. We'll see everyone later. There's going to be a day where I can't say we'll see you later. And that will make me sad. Did everyone kind of understand the EPA? The metric's confusing, and I didn't want to be too redundant. But it's truly an analytic that I think you need to learn and it's best learned with examples. Like OPS, which is what I cited in the video, is not something you need examples for. It's on base plus slugging. EPA, when I just tell you the definition, doesn't really paint a picture well. But when you tell me, oh, when I have 1st and 10 at my 50, at the 50, the EPA on this drive is expected points is 2.5, and we scored a touchdown. Oh, we outdid our EPA with an extra 3.5. So the EPA was 3.5 on that play. And so if you have an EPA of like, hey, this guy had an EPA today of 4. Wow, almost like a war in baseball. He added 4 points on top of what the expectation was for the average player in that scenario. He gave us 4 points. It's like if I scored a touchdown, you could say I was worth 6. But why couldn't my replacement also score a touchdown? That's what EPA tries to solve for.
I saw somebody in the chat be like, is it sort of like who has the more explosive and bigger plays?
Yes, but it also factors in down, distance, and location. So you could have an explosive play. Let's say I have a 50-yard touchdown on 1st and 10 from the 50. What's better? That, and when I say what's better, I mean what's better for the team? 1st and 10, touchdown from the 50. 3rd and 20, touchdown from the 50. I would say the 3rd and 20 is better for the team. You were on your last strike, and I came through with a 50-yard touchdown. 1st and 10 from the, 1st and 10, 50-yard touchdown's not bad, of course. But in terms of comparing what's more impressive, it's the 3rd and 20. So the expected points on 3rd and 20 is probably like 0. They're like, we don't expect you to get any points out of this. Oh my God, you got 6? That's 6 points over what we expected. 1st and 10 from the 50, we expect the team to get 2.5 points on this drive. You got a touchdown. You outdid what was expected by 3.5. So that's where, I don't want to say it's only explosive plays, because both those plays are 50-yard touchdowns, but one was well over the expectation. Okay. Jim, we have a few super chats. Jim Shepard, suck on this. No, that's not for me. Hey, who put this? Who wrote this? You did. I told him it was too far. I've got lots of gifts in my trunk. What are you going to give him? You going to give him your watch? Yes. I'll send it to Costa Rica time. This is what goodbye, Toby. When Toby leaves. Jim, thank you so much. Diablo 5-0. We better than Cleveland. Big Pete, don't lie. First off, I want to shed the Big Pete. That was kind of the goal of the last 4 months. I know it's a term of endearment, but the ironic thing is I've always been Little Pete because my older brother is Petey too. So, we better than Cleveland, though. I love covering both these teams. Someone super thanks last week, which channel have you enjoyed covering the most? Something to that effect. And I was like, I got to be honest, early on, it really wasn't Falcons Today because you guys were very mean to me, and I'm human. I have emotions, and when you tell me I suck, it makes me feel sad inside. But now I think it's kind of like water under the bridge. I also think when you say you suck, it should not be received as screw you. There should also be a certain amount of, all right, well, maybe I suck. So let's figure out what I'm bad at, and let's try and improve at that. Cliff, gonna miss you as you helped make being a Falcons fan a little less torturous, but Godspeed in your new career. Cliff, thank you so much for your super chat. Really appreciate your support. And was it Cliff who? I think it was Cliff who actually sent that super thanks in. Speak of the devil. Aiden Stackhouse. Aiden, farewell, PD. You were, in my opinion, the best host at Chat Sports. Wishing you the best of luck in your career change and always rise up. Thank you, Aiden. I greatly appreciate all of your support over, the last couple of years. And I was about to make an offer, but if I made that offer, my fiance would be furious. I was about to tell you where the after party is for my wedding in Atlanta next Saturday. But I don't think Shay would be on board if I turned our wedding after party into a Falcons Today meet and greet in my tuxedo. So, you know what? I'll drop some hints along the way. And if you can figure it out, I'll see you Saturday at 11 no, call it 11:30. I don't want you waiting around. 11:30 p.m. in the Alpharetta area. I don't want to send you on a wild goose chase. All right. Travis, $25. We're waiting for the message. Travis, thank you so much for your super chat. Shout out to you, Travis. We're not going to shut it down for Travis. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have 2 more segments to get to. We're also at $142 in super chats. Reed said if we get to $300, he will do a beer boot. I promise I'm not a pussy. If I wasn't on this diet, I would also sacrifice my body for a beer boot. But I stepped on the scale this morning, and I think it's the lightest I've been since probably 2019. So I don't want to undo this very painstaking hard work of eating broccoli and cucumbers and lettuce for lunch and dinner every day for 1 beer boot. It would be. Matthew, PD, congrats on your new career. We're going to miss you. P.S. You also have the best first name ever. Likewise, you have great taste yourself. At least our moms do. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, Travis, you guys are incredible. Thank you for all your super chats and all your support in the chat right now. Grand Limousine with a $20 super chat, helping Reed get that much closer to a beer boot. By the way, everyone's asked me at work this question, so I thought I'd bring you guys in as I see a lot of Skinny Pete's in the chat, things like that. I plan to stop all this hard work and undo all this dieting the moment my wedding starts through the honeymoon. I am not going to France to fucking eat lettuce. It is going to be a meat, cheese, and bread diet. And I plan on drinking so much beer on the beach. I miss beer. Beer's awesome. Beer is fantastic. It's good for me. That's all I can tell you. It's good for me. Brandon is sniffing around the right area. I'm not going to get too... I feel like if I get too specific... Also, I can't definitively say... I'm not from Alpharetta, so I have an idea, but I don't want to send you in the wrong direction. All I can say is shut it down. Are we ready for our next segment, Mr. Reed? I was trying to think, though, and if there's anyone, before we start this next segment, since it's the Matthew Peterson show right now, when is... I think it's probably a bad idea health-wise for me if I completely break this diet the day of the wedding. I don't want to shock my body a little bit. I haven't had red meat in a long time. And I pick steak for my... I don't want to fuck up my stomach. So I think maybe like Thursday, I'll reintroduce some things. But I also don't want to... Because my tux fits perfectly. So don't want to, pop a button or something. Yeah. All right. Emmanuel, PD, thank you for humoring me post-draft last year when I kept bothering you about the blank is a Falcon. Oh, Emmanuel, you got to stick around for the end of today's live show. If I'm starting to lose you, just come back in 40 minutes for the end of the live show. Reed cooked up a great surprise for you all. I promise you're going to love it, especially Emmanuel right now. All right. Mike, thank you for your kind words. Gray Void became a Falcons fan in 2020. Thank you for all the news and roster updates throughout the year. You guys are awesome. Appreciate it. Jamal, why is this your last show? Jamal, in case someone else is also wondering the same thing, this is my last live show. Tomorrow, Friday, is my last day kind of full-time at Chat Sports. I will, after that, go to my wedding and my honeymoon, and then I'll come back. And for 1 month, I will work in kind of a part-time role doing at-home videos for the channel. So not quite what this is with the bells and the whistles and the live shows and things like that. But I'm doing that for a month after I get back from my honeymoon so that Chat Sports has more time to find a replacement so that I can hang out with you for a little bit longer and so that you guys can get content while I am away. While they're searching for my replacement. So I'm actually about to repeat that entire sentence all over again. So I'm sorry. I know it's very redundant for those of you that have been here since the start of the live show. Okay. Are we ready? Here we go. I'm going to give you guys a quick show update. If you've already heard this update, just hit the skip ahead button a few times. But for those of you that don't know, over a week ago, I announced that Friday, May 23rd would be my last day at Chat Sports. And that has slightly changed. So here's what happened. Last weekend, my bosses approached me about coming on as a part-time contributor more or less when I returned from my honeymoon in the middle of June. And I felt like it was a win-win-win. Chat Sports has some coverage on the channel while they look for a new host, because I still am going to leave altogether at some point. And I get to hang out with you guys for another month, and you guys get content for a month while they search for a new host. So I'm still leaving Chat Sports. Friday, May 23rd is my last day, or was my last day in the office. But when I come back in the middle of June, I will start doing some at-home videos for 4 or 5 times a week for about 4 weeks. So now let's get into today's episode and the reason why you clicked onto it, which is we have some rookie predictions from ESPN. Mike Clay over in Bristol cooked up some stat predictions for top rookies in different statistical categories, and the Falcons were included in one notable one, which is rookie sacks. And Jalen Walker is tied for first with Abdul Carter, top 5 draft pick by the New York Giants, Mykel Williams, 11th overall pick, 4 spots before Walker by the San Francisco 49ers. And James Pierce comes in at 5 sacks, tied for 4th with Shamir Stewart. So 2 Falcons, which somewhat expected given that both were taken in round 1, are, in ESPN Mike Clay's eyes, going to finish top 5 in sacks for 2025 amongst all rookies. 6 sacks and 5 sacks may not jump out to you. I don't want to say what I would do for that, but I do some bad things for that. We're talking about a Falcons pass rush that is dead last in sacks over the past 4 seasons combined. If 2 rookies in year 1 can show me something more than 1 to 2 or 3 sacks, I'm all in. Just stop talking and tell me where to sign. 5 or 6 sacks may not sound like a lot, but let me show you how that would compare to previous years. So Mike Clay has 5 players from this draft class getting 5 or more sacks as a rookie. That's 2 more than last year. That ties 2023. That's 4 more than 2020 when only Chase Young accomplished that. So while that may not seem overly impressive to you, that is tying an NFL record over the last near decade at this point. I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. And while 5 sacks doesn't seem like a lot, you don't find usually a ton of production from rookie pass rushers. Look at the last couple of guys who get 8 or more sacks as a rookie. I mean, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, Byron Young, they've led the rookie class in sacks the past 3 years, and they didn't even get to 10. Only Micah Parsons has done that. I think the last guy before him was maybe Von Miller, someone in between. We've done this graphic before, and I can't remember right now. But as for where this ranks, like the Falcons, they've not had anywhere near this level of success since, I mean, forget when iPhone, like the internet. The last time in Atlanta, like there was, this show would have been in a newspaper. The last time an Atlanta Falcon rookie got anywhere near 6.5 sacks. 1970. That's how long it's been. Look at the last 25 years. Takk McKinley at 6 sacks in 2017 is the best I can offer you from a rookie getting to the quarterback. So Jalen Walker gets 6 sacks and James Pierce gets 5 sacks. Stop right there. You sold me. That is not something to feel underwhelmed over. I would love for these 2 guys to combine for 11 sacks. That would be about 25% of the production they got all of last year. Think about that for a second. Now, as for Walker getting 6 and Pierce getting 5, I'm going to flip-flop those 2. Walker, I think from a size perspective, is a little bit of a smaller edge, but I think he's got a little bit more strength than James Pierce. Pierce, from a speed perspective, outdoes everyone. But Walker at Georgia was a floater. He played off-ball linebacker. He played edge rusher. The Falcons are going to start him off at edge, and I think they'll probably work him to inside on like third and long so they can get Pierce, Walker, Floyd, Ebiketie all on the field at once. I think Pierce, though, is going to have a little bit more production as a rookie because it's not going to be that as big of an adjustment for him as it will be for Walker. Now, when you dominate with speed in college like Pierce did at Tennessee, you're going to get slapped in the face early on when you realize, oh, I can't just run around everyone anymore. I could do that against the NC State tackle. Can't do that in the NFL. The tackles are cats. They are very quick, and I might be faster, and I can take advantage of that every so often, but they are going to do a lot of research on me, and they are going to have some great sets to make sure that they can neutralize my speed. So who do you think will have more sacks this upcoming season? I'm going to go with James Pierce, and I think it's James Pierce in 2025, and it could be Walker in 2028. But I'm going to let Walker ramp up a little bit. So that was one bold prediction we got from ESPN. I want to look at another rookie that was discussed as well elsewhere, and that is DBs the Atlanta Falcons found in rounds 3 and 4, Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman. Now, before we look at those two players, I do want to give a big special shout out to Fanatics, who's got Jalen Walker jerseys, James Pierce jerseys, and other jerseys available when you go to chatsports.com/ATL rookies. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. It's a great way to support the channel while also getting yourself a brand new Falcons jersey. I saw this term thrown out there describing Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman. Fire and ice. I caught my attention. Click. And then when I learned why they were called fire and ice, I was like, well, this is going to make today's show. Because if I know it, you have to know it. Because it's a really cool story or a really cool nickname background. It comes from Jerry Gray, the DB coach for Atlanta. And he said, I'm calling them fire and ice. And you guys, the media, will know why once you go talk to them. And then they talk to Billy Bowman. And they say, hey, what are your expectations for your first NFL season? Here's what he said. My expectations are always to start right away. Talk about just coming out guns blazing. As a 4th-round pick, he's like, I expect to start. I'm a guy that's an alpha, and I'm sure that the other guys here are alphas too. We're going to come in, compete, make each other better. Who wants to guess which one is fire and which one is ice? You might look at that as, oh, he's a little cocky. I fucking love it. This is the National Football League. I want the most competitive of the most competitive on my team. If you don't believe you can start, get off the team. Unless you're Kirk Cousins, because then I need you to back up Michael Penix. All right? But everyone else, if there's competition constantly. I don't love the idea of a rookie going in there going, yeah, I know my place. Happy to be a 3rd-string practice squad guy. Screw that. If that's your mentality, you're not going to make it. I love that competitive energy. Now, here's where the ice comes in. Xavier Watts. I'm not really expecting anything. I'm just trusting my teammates and coaches, and we'll see what happens. Talk about a laissez-faire type of approach, which is fine. I'm not shaming that at all. If Xavier Watts came out and said, yeah, I think I'll probably be a backup for a few years, that's pussy shit. Don't want anything to do with that. It's all right. You don't have to come out and say, I expect to start. That's a bit ambitious, right? You don't want to, write checks you can't cash. But I like the idea of the Atlanta Falcons with Bowman and Watts getting a little bit of fire and ice going in that locker room. And then as for the field, listen, right now Bowman's going to compete with Alford and Phillips for that nickel spot. And Watts is going to compete with Jordan Fuller and DeMarco Helms for that other safety starting spot. I can't guarantee that both are going to start week 1. In fact, I don't think both are going to start week 1 or even either one. But both of them will be starting at some point in 2025. Bowman showed some great coverage skills at Oklahoma, along with elite ball skills. And then Watts All he did was, lead the country in interceptions the past 2 years with 13 altogether. Yeah, I think the Falcons found some good gems there. I mean, there's a cool story that came out of this from, I think it was Josh Kendall at The Athletic, who said that Atlanta was happy to take Watts at pick 46 in round 2. So when he kept sliding and falling and sliding and falling, there's Atlanta at 101. They gave up a future 5th to move up to get him because they were afraid the Raiders, 3 picks before them, were going to take Watts. And I bet the Raiders wish he was there. So I love both these selections for Atlanta. Right now, everyone's kind of just drinking the Kool-Aid on all their team's draft picks, but I'm being genuine with you when I say I like this a lot. All right, let's pick a super chatter from our live show, which was our final live on Thursday. So here we go. 2 claps going to, looking good for Robert. Robert, shout out to you, man. 2 claps, everyone. 1, 2. All right. We'll see everyone later. Fire and Ice is a baller nickname. I love it. I love it. We have one more segment to get to. It's not a mailbag, by the way. I didn't do a mailbag today just in the interest of the best content possible because I just did not feel like there really was a lot of pressing questions you guys would have. So decided to skip that here. Gomez, kind of 4 more weeks. In the middle of June, when I return from France, I will do 4 weeks of at-home videos for the channel while Chat Sports looks for a replacement. Oh, I love it. Wait. Travis? Where? Oh, I see. Travis, if you didn't use the link, I'm going to ban you from the channel. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Oh, did you tell your mom? Use this link? Return it, use the link, and then get a new one. Let's go, Travis! Are you just saying that? You yanking my chain?
Dad, let's go.
I love you. I love you. NFC South superlatives. I did this last June. I did it at the beginning of June. I'm not going to be here at the beginning of June, so I was like, selfishly, I'm going to do it because I don't want to go to waste. We have a super chat? Okay, yeah, sweet. Christian, DJ Ray with a $10 super chat. We're at 174. If we get to 300, Reed is going to do a beer boot. Congrats, Petey. Going to miss the Office references. Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much. I don't want to live in a world where The Office is no longer the #1 sitcom of all time. I am terrified that people that went to college starting post-2020 don't have The Office to watch on Netflix, and they don't know what it's like to just binge The Office on Netflix as like background TV at worst. I was a fun little PD fact. I was The Office pledge my freshman year, so I would have to send a quote, which that was pretty easy for me. And just to prove how big an Office fan I am, I lived in Japan from 2003 to 2008. My whole family did, not just me solo as a 6-year-old. And we loved it so much, we would download each episode off iTunes every Friday morning because it aired in the U.S. Thursdays. Yep, and so with the time difference, we'd watch The Office as a family every Friday at 7:30 a.m.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just before we went to school and my dad went to work.
I love like core memories like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and then that's why you love it so much because it's like.
It was mostly just my brother, my dad, and I. My mom and my sister didn't really like it or get it at first.
By the way.
Which I guess as a 6-year-old, I also didn't get a lot of the jokes at first either. Or 7.
Do you remember that just like blew my mind? iTunes gift cards.
So it's funny you say that. I got a lot of iTunes gift cards, growing up as gifts, and I added my iTunes account. And I just the other day thought about, hey, I pay for Apple Music, and it charged these gift cards. When am I going to run out? I feel like I have an infinite, number of gift cards in there. The other thing I wanted to say about The Office, because it's my favorite. So when I got really good at sending the quotes, the guy I would send quotes to is like, all right, new challenge. He would text me a picture of the episode he was watching, just like, picture. And I had to tell him what episode it was, just based on that photo of the screen. I couldn't tell him the name of the episode, but I could tell him what episode it was. You know what I mean? Like, I could say, that's the episode when Kevin drops the chili. You know what I mean? I probably bat at like 90%. Like, you can tell if you watch enough, like Steve Carell, his hairstyle changes a lot throughout the show. He got thinner as the show went on. He was kind of pudgy his first season. Jim is an easy giveaway. His hairstyle changes a ton too. You get the wig, yeah.
He went. Do you know the story behind that, right?
Yeah, he did Leatherheads, and he needed to shave his head for it, and the office was like, "Yeah, you can't do that." He's like, "What if I wore a wig?" And they're like, "No." So he put the wig on anyway. He's like, "Well, I'm wearing a wig right now, and you guys couldn't notice." They're like, "All right, you can do it then." I also watched an episode the other day where you can tell Steve Carell just filmed Dinner with the Schmucks because his hair is very like bowl cutty. Yeah, just like in Dinner with the Schmucks. All right, here we go. I'm losing people. DJ, if Bowman and Watts are fire and ice, what would you call Walker and Pierce? I love this question, DJ. Go, 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 go. I'm not good at coming up with nicknames.
I don't know. But the first thing for some reason was
Smokey and Ugga?
or from Cars, but it's not originally from Cars, but it's like Sting like a Beamer, Cadillac or whatever. Like, fuck. Hold on.
Bangers and Mash. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm not good at nicknames.
Float like a Cadillac, sting like a Beamer.
I also, my all-time favorite movie is Step Brothers. I think I can literally go through the whole movie line by line. Shake and Bake's a good one. Yep. Thunder and Lightning is too surface level. We can do better. Twin, Jose, I don't know if anyone called him that. All right, let's get into our third segment. Thank you for all the super chats, everyone. Guilty as charged with the stories. That you are, Derek. That you are. God, you're impressive. Oh, Bonita Fish big. Damn it, Dale. Robert, he can join in. I asked him not to. Okay. Here we go. I've made this announcement a few times, so if you've heard it already, please skip ahead. But if you have not heard the announcement, over a week ago, I announced that Friday, May 23rd, would be my last day at Chat Sports, and we have a slight change to that. I met with my bosses last weekend, and they proposed, hey, when you come back from your honeymoon in the middle of June, what do you think about doing some at-home videos for about a month until July while we search for a replacement? Slept on it. Thought it was a good, outcome for myself because I get to hang out with you guys for an extra month. And Chat Sports gets someone to hold down the fort while they look for a new host. And you guys, best of all, get content for a month, whereas you could have been hanging high and dry. So Friday, May 23rd was my last day in Chat Sports headquarters. But when I come back in June, I will kind of be like a part-time-ish employee where I'll film videos from my kitchen, which I've done before, but on a more frequent daily basis. So that way all three camps are satisfied. So now let's get into today's episode, which is all about NFC South superlatives. I made this video last year in early June, and if you care about the YouTube analytics world, it did pretty well for a very slow period of time in the NFL world. So I thought, play the hits. So here are my superlatives from last year. I did not do well. I had the Saints going 8-9 and lose a clutch Week 18 game. They did not go 8. They went worse than 8-9. The Buccaneers to be the returning division winner, sacrificial lamb, a.k.a. win the division and then not win it the next year. That did not happen. The Panthers to enter a toxic quarterback relationship. I feel like that kind of happened, right? Bryce Young, it was toxic at the beginning, but it got better towards the end. And then Atlanta's to end the NFC's longest playoff drought. Nope, that is still ongoing. So, how about my 2025 superlatives? Most likely to get the number one overall pick in 2026, the New Orleans Saints. I promise I'm not going to make all of these, just the other three teams are the worst and the Falcons are the best. That'd be some like Kim Jong-un level propaganda, but I truly do believe in my heart of hearts that the New Orleans Saints will be picking first overall next season. And I have 3 reasons for that. And it's not just because I think they're going to suck. The first reason is their quarterback room, I think, is going to suck. We saw last year with the Tennessee Titans, you have a bad quarterback, you're picking first. And is Tyler Shuck better than Will Levis? I can't be convinced of that right now. So, from a quarterback alone perspective, that by itself can be enough to go, they're picking first because those quarterbacks rank 32nd amongst all 32 quarterback rooms. But Browns had a bad quarterback situation last year. They picked second. That won't entirely just be the case all the time. So I came prepared with 2 more reasons. The next reason, some of their best players are deep on the wrong side of 30. Alvin Kamara is going to turn 30 years old before week 1. Brandon Cooks is 31. Cam Jordan's 36. These are all going into week 1. Demario Davis, 36. Tyrann Mathieu, 33. Starter. Important starters. Now, they are much younger on the offensive line, but a lot of their key players are getting old. And that's a bad spot to be in. You've got some old vets and a bad quarterback room. And then the last ingredient to this shit show of a year coming for New Orleans, is Kellen Moore really the coach for that type of rebuild and roster? I think Kellen Moore is one of those like offensive young gurus, geniuses, right? Is that the guy that's going to be best suited and the best fit for, so we don't have a good quarterback and we have an aging roster? Here you go, under 40-year-old, less than 10-year experience in the NFL coaching Kellen Moore. No, this seems like a roster that I think Dennis Allen could actually get better results out of. I know what I'm working with. I know I don't have a ton of talent, but we're going to play good football, and we're going to eke out a couple of wins. I think Kellen Moore could be a very successful coach if he's got some talent that can execute the way he wants to play. But he's lacking talent. And I think that is a bad situation for a young, first-time head coach to be in. That's a situation where a retread could have some success. Where they go, I know my limitations, and I know what I'm capable of with this roster, and I'm going to max out what I'm working with. Moore's got to learn that lesson, and I think it's going to cost him a lot of losses this year. So I think New Orleans will be picking first overall in 2026. So if you hate the Saints, click that thumbs up button down below. Show this channel some love while getting more likes than Saints today off of today's episode. Our next superlative, most likely to make the In the Hunt graphic, the Carolina Panthers. This is actually me being nice to the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to be more competent in 2025 than they have been for almost close to a decade with one good playoff appearance in that span. I think this is, might sound like a backhanded compliment, but I think they might be decent. They won 5 games last year, 2 of which came in the last 3 weeks of the season. But I think the Carolina Panthers are going to be not necessarily better than what people expect, but not as, big of a pushover as teams expect. I was curious when Bryce Young got benched kind of early on in the year and then took over later on. We saw what happened in week 18 against Atlanta in overtime, but the Panthers offense the first 10 weeks of the season was 30th in scoring. Then they have a week 11 bye. Weeks 12 through 18, they're just outside the top 10. I mean, they added a whole 8 points on. That's a huge addition to your scoring output. So I won't say that the Panthers are going to make the playoffs. I'm not here to say that they are my dark horse team to be a wild card team. I just think they're going to be a tougher out in 2025. Maybe they start the year off 0-2, and then they rattle off 2 wins to get back to 500. I think that when Thanksgiving rolls around and the Fox and CBS broadcast has the playoff graphic, you want to see your team up there, and if your team's not good, you just pray they include you as a pity charity case in the Hunt graphic. I think the Panthers at that point might be like 5-6, 4-6, and you go, all right, they're there. They're not going to actually make some noise, but they're not going to be a team that you go into your schedule thinking free win here, there. So who do you think is going to be a tougher opponent this year? Saints or Panthers? You can go position by position and go back and forth a little bit. I'd go quarterback Carolina. I'd probably go, vast majority defense for New Orleans. But I'll go with the Panthers. Most likely to take a step back, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was looking over their roster, and I got to give them credit. It's a good roster. Their offensive line is good. They have 3 dominant receivers. Bucky Irving is emerging on the scene. Baker's playing great ball. Their defense is going to be, well run and well coached under Todd Bowles. But I love history. And if you notice a trend, the last 3 years, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have slowly added 1 win. 8-9, 9-8, 10-7. So they're building up to win number 11. Here's the thing for Tampa. History says that is probably not going to happen. Not NFL history. I'm talking Buccaneers history. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not improved their win total from the previous season for 4 straight years since their first 4 years in the NFL, which it wasn't very difficult for them to do that because they won 0 games the first year. All they had to do the next year was win just 1, which kudos to them, actually. You want to guess how many games they won? 2. And then from 2, the bar's still pretty low. They jumped up to a mighty 5. And then from there, they won 10. So kudos to them. But I think that, and this is where, I don't say probably be wrong, but I was wrong last year about it. But I'll try again this year. They do not win the NFC South again this year. Last year, I showed the stat, and I updated it for this year. Since 2010, call it 50% of reigning division winners did not repeat the next season. It has happened 7 times in the NFC South, predominantly by the Buccaneers the past 4 or 5 seasons. Before that run, we were, flip-flopping between mostly the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Saints. So, call it 50%. You got 8 divisions. 4 of your division winners from last year are not going to repeat as division winners the next year. Now, what's interesting was last year in 2024, all 4 AFC division winners went back-to-back, were repeats. Only half of the NFC division winners were repeats. The Cowboys gave up their spot to the Eagles, and the 49ers gave up their spot to the Rams. So last year was a 25% success rate of the bottom feeders unseating or dethroning the king at the top. Before we look at the final superlative, if you would like to get a James Pierce or a Jalen Walker jersey, please use this link, chatsports.com/ATL rookies. It's a great way to support the channel while also getting yourself a brand new Falcons jersey. So don't be the guy at the preseason week 1 tailgate wearing like a Vic Beasley jersey. That's disgusting. Get a fucking awesome James Pierce jersey. My 4th and final superlative, most likely to find their franchise quarterback, the Atlanta Falcons. This is one that I feel confident in. As my time at Chat Sports in this channel comes, towards an end soon, my biggest regret was that when they drafted Penix, I was so negative about the pick, which I think people will look back at and go, you didn't like Penix as a player. When in reality, Penix was my 4th favorite quarterback in that class behind Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. But the only reason why I didn't like the pick was because they had just signed Kirk Cousins. And so I wish I could go back and make it abundantly clear of I like Penix, which, looking back, that's probably like a learning lesson. If you like Penix, then stop talking and go, I like the pick. If you like the player, you like the pick. So I'm a big fan of what Michael Penix and this offense are hoping to accomplish. I'm a big believer in what I think they can accomplish this year. Now, Penix is going to be, injury aside, the week 1 starter for this team, which will mark a 5th straight unique week 1 starter dating back to Matt Ryan in 2021, which obviously, from 2025, if you just assumed all the current starters to start week 1, the Atlanta Falcons are tied for last in terms of, most amount of unique starters since 2021. They've maxed out. They've had one every single year. So I was like, well, that's not very, compelling information. Where does that rank if you just take these 4? Because I can't assume this one just yet for all the other teams. Where do these 4 rank amongst all 32 teams since 2015? And here's some good trivia. And if you know me, you know I love trivia. The Broncos and the Commanders have had 8 unique starters since 2015. The Atlanta Falcons are in a multi-way tie with 4 unique starters. And then once week 1 comes here, they will bump up to 5. So there has been a carousel at quarterback for half a decade now. And hopefully Penix will end that run. And I believe, and I'm not saying this because I'm biased. I'm not saying it to just give you guys some good news because I know that's what people want to hear. I truly do believe in my heart of hearts that Michael Penix is going to be the real deal. That he is going to be a quarterback that makes Pro Bowls, that wins divisions, that goes to the playoffs, that wins playoff games. I think he is talented enough to accomplish all those things. You notice I did not say the big S word. I mean, here's the issue with that. If Joe Burrow or Josh Allen never wins a Super Bowl, are they bad? No. I forgot who said it. It was a guest on Part of My Take. And they made a great point that in the next 10 years, you've got in the AFC, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. Let's say the next 10 years are their 10 best years, right? Are all 4 realistically going to win one in the next 10 years? I'd say probably not. There's not enough, all 4. There's just not enough Super Bowls, right? Mahomes is probably going to win at least 2. So that leaves you 8 for 3 other guys. And just those 3 guys, we even entertained the NFC quarterbacks. So I don't want to put this out there that he's going to win Super Bowls because Phillip Rivers was a great quarterback. Didn't happen. Doesn't mean he's not good, right? If that's the bar for success, it's an unfair bar because not so many deserving players will fall short of it. So that's my quarterback Super Bowl kind of rant right there. I mean, here's the question I have on screen, but answer this question or answer this one. Who does not win a Super Bowl? Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, or Josh Allen? I don't think there's enough Soupies to go around for all 3 to get one. They're not going to take turns. If Lamar wins one, the next year we're all picking him to repeat, right? In the NFC and the AFC, they win, let's say, every other year. So if you have 10 years left, 2 of them go to Mahomes. We're down to 8. That leaves 4 for the AFC, 4 for the NFC. So you have 3 AFC quarterbacks for 4 AFC windows. Someone's going to get left out. I'd say between those 3, I'd go with Joe Burrow. And it's not against him, it's more against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's purely team related. All right, let's pick a super chatter out of our live show for 2 claps. Unless Burrow gets traded. I don't think that happened. Diablo50. Do you think this is Divine Diablo? Ooh, maybe. 2 claps, Divine. 1, 2. All right. We'll see everyone later. Jay, it's great to see you, bud. Kyle, what's the new job he is doing? And for anyone that's just tuning in, this is my last live show. My official last day of Chat Sports is kind of tomorrow, Friday, May 23rd. But then when I come back from my honeymoon, I'll help out in a part-time role filming videos at home for a month into July while they look for a new long-term host for the channel. And then I'm leaving this job for a trivia job. And I know that sounds kind of like not real in a way, but then again, this job doesn't sound real when I tell my grandparents I'm a sports YouTuber. But Yeah, it is a trivia company that serves bar and restaurants like trivia, full service, everything like that. And my friend from college started it, asked me if I wanted to join, and gave a very flattering offer. I love trivia; it's been a passion of mine, so it's a good time in my life to take that risk and start a new adventure. So if anyone watching is a bar manager or owner, or restaurant owner, or anything like that, you want trivia and you want it done right, I hope you can trust me. Hit me up, Matthew PD on Twitter, or email Matthew@chatsports.com. Just email soon, because my email will be deactivated soon. Rusty Moore, everyone's going to clown New Orleans until they draft Arch #1, and he plays like Peyton for the next 15 years. Best of luck, MP. Alexa, play See You Again. Rusty, thank you. The good news is, and I should have mentioned this in that video, I think Arch Manning is going to go back to Texas for a 4th year, meaning he will not enter the 2026 NFL draft. He spent 2 years as a backup to Quinn. I think he's going to spend 2 years as a starter. I don't think he'll be a 1-year starter, go to the draft. Now, if he's going to be the first overall pick and New Orleans is picking, he may just feel like it's too good of an opportunity to pass on to play for my hometown team. Jay, spacebar. Bye, Petey. You're fired. We're doing. I never watched The Apprentice. Did you ever watch that show? I think it was just because like an age thing of born in '98. That was more of like a 2000 to 2006 reality show. Yeah, The Office, they referenced The Apprentice in there. You're fired. I never watched that. I kind of want to watch a season back.
Office trivia.
Yeah.
Do you know what episode they mentioned? Like they were like, "Oh, did you hear who
Trump got fired in The
who
Apprentice?"
Trump fired?
Yes.
What episode was that?
It's an early episode. It's a good trivia.
Thank you.
I'm
hunting for your new job.
So it's Dwight when he thinks it's Friday. He's like, "No, I forgot. I went out paintballing yesterday with my buddies. I never go out paintballing on a Wednesday."
Yeah. Good job.
And Jim calls his friend.
Michael, I'm here. I swear, Michael.
Never late a day in my ass. All right. Gavin, all these messages, I see them all, and I just want you to know that they mean so much to me. And I just cannot show enough gratitude and appreciation for all the love you guys are showing me right now. Travis Petey found this channel 2 years ago, and every night when I go to bed, I watch. My fiance hates it. Thanks to all the content and insights. You'll be missed. New guy has some big shoes to fill. Mason B. Petey, are you going to be like the old HQ Trivia app? Scott. What was Scott's last name? No. It's just the company is like a trivia company where you go to a restaurant or bar and like, oh, there's trivia tonight. And there's a guy with a microphone who reads questions. My job is to make the trivia questions and then to find the bars to host those trivia games at. Petey, do you remember when you thought the field goal in the Commander? I forgot about that one. Let's show them what you made. Let's do it. So Reed was very kind enough to spend some time of his on his own to put together a montage of some of my best moments on the channel. And I think you guys are going to quickly pick up on where this is going. So let's roll this montage of some of my favorite moments hosting Falcons today. I have never said this before about a coach or player and have been wrong. I'm batting 1,000 about this, all the way back to the coaching search. So I don't see a way this comes back to bite me in the ass again. But I still think Justin Fields, all jokes aside, will be an Atlanta Falcon. Kirk Cousins is a Falcon, and pardon my French, but holy shitballs. But let me just say it right now, and I've been saying it for a couple of days and almost 2 weeks at this point. Bill Belichick is such a Falcon. Well, I did not have Raheem the Dream Morris coming to the Falcons as their next head coach. Dallas Turner is a Falcon. I will put it in stone right now. Rosetta Stone, move over. You have a new piece of history. The Atlanta Falcons make the first big surprise and splash of the draft. They go quarterback Michael Penix from Washington with pick number 8. If you can't laugh at yourself, you're not doing it right. Those are like, what's funny is when I, eventually do step away full time from this channel, We could call it tomorrow even. When I think back at some of my favorite, memories and moments, not just on this channel, but at Chat Sports in general, and people ask me about this job, in the future, I will probably bring up the things I got wrong the most, more than the things I got right. It's just more entertaining that way.
I love. I'm batting 1,000. I don't think this is gonna come and bite me in the ass. Oh, buddy, it did.
I don't think I called Mike Green a Falcon. No, I don't think I said Mike Green. I mocked him to Atlanta. I got that wrong. But I don't think I called him a Falcon. Because I said I can't.
You may have done it as a joke.
No, I think what I might have said. No.
To Dallas
I
Turner.
think I said if Mike Green is available, he's a Falcon. Because I was definitely timid to say he's a Falcon because I didn't know if he'd be there at 15. Spoiler, he'd be there at 40 and 50. So I think you got me there. Which one was the worst or maybe the best? He's a Falcon. I think it's got to be Dallas Turner. It's Dallas Turner. Because the Belichick one, I'll maintain I wasn't wrong.
He's such a Falcon.
I wasn't wrong on Belichick. The Falcons were wrong. They had him. And then they pivoted. And I did not account for the pivot. Fields, I just got wrong. I just didn't, read the situation well enough.
To be fair, when I did this, I was looking at the Penix one, and you did say after, you were like, I was high on Penix. I like Penix as a quarterback. He's good, and I like it. I just don't understand why they would sign Kirk Cousins then.
I know.
You said that. So
yeah.
You said you liked Penix, but
I wish
you
I did
didn't
not
like
give.
what happened.
I wish I did not give the pick a D or D minus because just that snapshot, the first impression is, oh, I think Penix was bad, right? People, if Penix goes on to win a Super Bowl in 2 or 3 years, and someone puts together this diss track of all the people hating on Penix, that would be great fuel for that. That'd be great content for that. Mason, you were so certain and confident on everyone. PD will be the host of Falcons Today for the next 5 years. Book it. Yeah. I have seen you grow this channel really well. What I like most about you is the way you always keep it 100 real. No BS. All the best. We will miss you. Moss, thank you so much. The funny thing about that comment is, it's the internet. You can't get everyone to agree on everything. But, I always try to just be completely honest. And that may not be what you want to hear if it's not, me just being the good news minister. But as much as I strive to do that, I still get people saying dude, you're just so biased. It's I'm trying to just level with you all.
It's the Falcons Today.
Yeah.
Not NFL Today.
Okay. That's going to do it for us on our final live show today. I'm not made for speeches like this, and I don't want to cry, but you guys have been so incredible for the last few years, tuning in for all the live shows, the watch parties, commenting on videos. Even if you never commented once, but you watched every single time, you liked our videos, you super chatted, all that stuff to interact with the channel. I just want to say thank you. Right now, there's a lot of thank you coming my way, but it should be going the other way. This channel would not be where it is today without all of your support. So, Jordan will throw your super chat on screen, but I truly mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And I don't want you to think that the thank you is a generalization. No, I mean specifically. I'm looking right at you right now. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my daily routine and the best NFL content show host out there. F the haters. You will be missed. Wishing you good luck. Jordan, I really appreciate this. I don't know how to put it in words, and this is not on some big grand level or stage, but it's a pretty, surreal feeling to see messages like this where it's wow, didn't realize the number of people across the country and the world that every single day I'm a part of, whether it's you on your routine, whether it's our other friend before he goes to bed each night. That's just things that I never had register with me until now. And if you want to feel like you're on top of the world, that's a way to do it. So really appreciate it, Jordan. Jay, thank you so much. I will also give you guys one last kind of peek behind the curtain. Daniel, thanks, Petey, for working hard and getting us the news. I don't want to say you guys don't understand because I wouldn't expect anyone to understand, but like what goes into making a video is not just this quick 10-minute rag team of like me and Reed, half-assing something. The whole entire thing takes hours. From the scripting, which the scripting is not there's no teleprompter, but it's the order of the graphics, and then Reed has to build every single graphic so you guys can see that. And then there's everything that goes into the title, the description, the thumbnails. Like a lot of work gets put into every single video. So when an appreciation and love is shown for it, it means more to me than you realize. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, goodbye. Thank you guys for everything. Like I said, it's not goodbye completely. It's goodbye from a traditional Falcons Today setting. As these super chats come and read, we'll just throw them on immediately. I'll come back in the middle of June after my wedding and honeymoon, and I'll film 4 or 5 videos every single week from my kitchen. And I'm doing that, one big reason why I decided to, do that kind of part-time-ish role is the love and comments you guys showed over the last week made it way more challenging than I ever thought to kind of step away. So when I got the opportunity to hang around for a little bit, in a different type of capacity, I was quick to say yes to it. Josh, thank you so much. Jesus bless you too. I'll miss you. Boyd Money. Jeebus H. Christ. We're $100 away from redoing a beer boot. Someone sent a $100 super chat in to get us a beer boot. It's been real, Petey. Rise up and good luck. Thank you, Boyd. Thank you so much. And there was one more from Jeebus H. Christ. Vincent, Jay, Tyman, Boyd, Woody, Lav S, Chevy. Thank you guys all so much. Matthew Petey fan. I want to hug you all. Great Peter the Sun shines. Oh, Goat, sorry. Peter the Sun shines for there alone. This sounds borderline biblical, but I like it. Yeah. I need to brush up on the Old Testament. Or is that New Testament? I got to brush up on both Testaments. All right. Man, goodbyes are a bitch. That's from when Michael left. Yep. So let's not do that. I'll just come back and tell you tomorrow what a great boss you were. You're the best boss ever. Bright Wolf, Cool Whip, Thomas, thank you guys. Thank you all so much. Ryan, Emmanuel, Petey Fontenot. We had a lot of great memories, a lot of great times. And listen, this channel is not dying or going anywhere. There'll be a new host, and I hope you guys can show that host your full support, and the show goes on. So, for one last time, thank you all, and rise up.